What is going on, Spurs fans? Ethan Quintero here, alone, which is weird because Jude is working tonight at a San Marcos High School football game, doing great over there. I am sure, as always, doing commentary, I believe, or he could just be doing some reporting stuff. I'm not entirely sure. But doesn't matter because I'm here to be with you guys and talk some San Antonio Spurs basketball because we finally got a win here on November, what day is it? 5th. November 5th, 2021. We beat the Orlando Magic 102 to 89. Yes, this was a game that we should win because at least I think we are objectively way better than the Orlando Magic, but it's still nice to finally get a win. Tanner Robertson, thank you for being here. My guy Ethan is solo dolo. Let's see how it goes. I know some of you probably like Jude a lot more than me, but I'm still here. This is all you got for tonight. So if you don't like me, just let me know in the comments. And this is really going to be an interactive one, guys. A lot more Q&A rather than just Jude and I discussing between each other because I'm alone and I need somebody to talk to because I can only hear myself talk for so long before I get tired of what I have to say. With that being said, we still have the ordinary structure of the post game recap. I'm just going to give you a few of my overall thoughts. I think we started off very sloppy, despite getting up I think by 10 points in the first quarter. Once Dejounte left the game, again we kind of got a little sloppy doppy there and started turning the ball over a little too much. We let them get back into the game. Yes, Nick, this is different. This is way different. Unfortunately, Jude can't be here. Hopefully, this doesn't happen too often. But like I said, keep talking to me in the group chat, and we will get talking with each other. Alexander, thank you for being here, my guy. Appreciate you as always. Anyway, like I was saying, we started off a little sloppy once DJ sat down, but we kind of got our rhythm back going again as we kind of went later into the game. And part of that, I think the energy was a little bit low at the start, and we kind of got it jolting once again, which was nice to see. We had a lot of good guys. We got a lot of guys play very well tonight. I'm gonna give a few shout outs, but I'm just gonna jump right into the first topic, which is offensive MVP. I have two. I'm going to give a co-MVP tonight, and it's Keldon Johnson and Dejounte Murray. Both finished with 20 points. DJ was just being DJ, man. He had 11 boards, 7 assists, 3 steals, just doing everything tonight. And what I like about DJ is when the game was on the line, when the Orlando Magic were going on a run in the third quarter and going into the fourth quarter, he took it upon himself to be that go-to guy. And that's what we expect from Dejounte Murray. He's a guy that's 6'5", long wingspan. He can create his own shot in the mid-range. He showed that, continues to improve his three-point percentage. I think in the last 5 games, he's shooting like 46%. Thad Young's coming, Tanner. I promise. Thad Young's coming. I wanted to give these two guys a shout-out because Thad Young by himself wouldn't have been able to get this dub, but I think these two guys were really significant with getting that energy going and kind of waking up the team. But like I said, DJ facilitating as always, really pushing the pace, which is always nice to see. And then Keldon Johnson also had 20 points, 8 for 15. Finally hit some of his free throws. He was 4 for 5 tonight, which is a great sign. 9 boards as usual. And what I like about Keldon Johnson is when he gets going in the full court offense in transition, he's impossible to stop. He is 100 miles an hour. And I know that sometimes gets him in trouble because of his one-dimensional game, which I've criticized as well as some of you guys in the chat. But when he gets going, he is really difficult to stop. He had a few incredible and ones. He had a couple incredible dunks that were just ferocious. I love the way he screams after he gets a dunk. That energy is what we needed tonight, and he provided it, and he was very significant offensively. That's why he gets my co-MVP with Dejounte Murray. Moving on to Defensive Player of the Night. A lot of good choices tonight. I know Tanner's going to say that Thad's going to get snubbed again because he played a phenomenal game defensively. But I think he's gotten it, I think 3 games in a row, and that's Devin Vassell. I just can't say enough about this guy. When he's on the court, you notice his defense. A lot of guys, you don't notice their defense. You kind of look at the box score and see like, oh, he had 3 steals tonight, which Devin did. Therefore, he played a good game defensively. You can just tell by Devin's body language and his overall impact. He was just all over the court defensively. Really glad to see what Devin brought tonight. But like I said, you can give a shout out to Thaddeus Young as well. He had 3 blocks tonight, 2 steals, trying to lock down Mo Bamba. Kind of a hard guy to stop. He's so long and tall. But, Thad Young held his own. And what I like about Thad Young is he had a lot of energy plays tonight. We'll get to that in just a second. But a lot of energy defensive plays, which are always nice to see from your backup center. Unfortunately, playing backup center rather than power forward. But, what can you do? I'm the most. What's up, man? Thanks for being here. Let's see what else you guys are saying here. Alexander, our starting guards are getting rebounds. Absolutely. Big shout out here. I forgot to mention this in my overall topics tonight. Derek White had 10 boards. Dejounte had 11. That we need that. We need that, especially when Jakob Poeltl's not there to kind of hold our defense down or hold our paint down. That was really underrated tonight, and it definitely had an impact because of those rebounds, we were able to push the pace because our guards were getting the ball, kind of like throwback to Russell Westbrook back in his OKC days, the way he would just take the ball off the glass, push it full court, and get easy buckets. That's what those guys are doing for us tonight. Let's see, Frank Quintero. Oh, my dad's in the chat. Frank, thanks for being here. Bryn Forbes, the only Spur that didn't score. Bench played well. That's true. That is very true. Bryn Forbes only had 3 minutes. I barely remember him being in the game. I remember seeing him, I think, in the second quarter, or maybe, yeah, toward the end of the second quarter when the Orlando Magic were started to go on a run. I think Pop was quick to pull them because, like we always say, Bryn's unfortunately a defensive liability. So we weren't looking to get in any trouble there. Also, with 5 minutes tonight was Trey Jones, who had a brief appearance in the game. I thought he played pretty well considering he only had 5 minutes. He took one shot, made one shot. He's looking very comfortable. I'd like to see Trey get a few more minutes. I know he's young. I know, who's he going to take minutes from? Lonnie, Devin. It's kind of hard to fit all of these guys in the game. But he looks very comfortable in the way he played in summer league and the way he is taking advantage of this garbage time. I'd like to see what he can do with some meaningful minutes. Let's see what else you guys have to say. Nick, Thad had, let's see. Thad had at least 3 forced turnovers after a Spurs missed shot or turnover. His hook was money, and his passing out of the high post was good, too. With that being said, Nick, first of all, 100% agree. Thank you for being here, sir. He is my unsung hero tonight. Thaddeus Young, like you said, he wasn't afraid of Mo Bamba. A lot of our guys were kind of avoiding the paint early because Mo Bamba is such a impactful paint defender. And the last time we met against them, I can't remember how many blocks he had, but it was profound the way he was locking down the paint. But Thaddeus Young, with that seasoned veteran mind, was able to take it to him, kind of body him up a little bit, create some space, and his hook shot was falling, which is really nice to see. And if he can continue to play this way, maybe I'm okay with him playing center. I still prefer him at power forward, if we're being honest, especially when we have a guy that's almost 7 feet tall and Jock Landale. But Thaddeus Young, he was very impactful tonight. 6 for 7, very efficient. He had 5 assists. He was passing. He was putting dimes down. He had one early on. Who was it to? I think it was Devin going baseline. Or no, it was Trey. It was Trey Jones during his only 5 minutes of playing time. He was cutting baseline. Thaddeus found him on an incredible bounce pass, and he just mishandled the ball. But that would have been an ESPN top 10 play of the night. That was a crazy, crazy look from Thaddeus Young. And if he can continue playing like this, I think he will prove to be a phenomenal asset to have, especially because we need a veteran on this team to kind of hone our young guys together after losing so many veterans in offseason. But the biggest part of Thaddeus Young getting my unsung hero tonight, did y'all see his defensive transition defense all night long? He was, every time he made a mistake, if he turned the ball over, he was sprinting down the court, 110% effort, and creating another turnover the other direction, swiping at the ball, poking the ball loose. He had a pretty amazing block tonight. I can't remember who it was on, but it was a forceful block. I think it was on Cole Anthony, if I'm not mistaken. Let me know in the chat. But Thaddeus Young was playing very well tonight. Tanner Robertson beginning his Bill Russell Award campaign. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd go that far, but he definitely was playing, out of his mind tonight. And Pop liked it too. I'm sure y'all saw during that hustle play by Thaddeus, Pop, clapped everybody up, dapped him up on the sideline. Always great to see Pop energized and ready to go as well. Thaddeus Young definitely deserving of unsung hero tonight. Let's see what Alexander said here in the chat. Would be great to see Jock getting minutes now that Jakob is not playing. Yeah, we talked about this a lot, Alexander, in the last one, and it's a reoccurring theme among Spurs fans and Spurs media people on Twitter and on YouTube. Everybody wants to see Jock. We're just gonna have to wait. I'm not surprised that we're not seeing him even with Jakob being hurt. If I was a betting man when Jakob went down, I was gonna bet. I was gonna put everything I own that Jock would not get any minutes the other night, and he didn't, and he didn't get minutes tonight. I know we're not happy about it. I would like to see him play because, like we say, he is a experienced player, MVP, Finals MVP in the NBL a couple of years ago, Olympic athlete, all of those things, and he's 6'11", and he can shoot. There's so many great things about him. But just having no NBA experience and being on the San Antonio Spurs, that's usually not a recipe, for getting meaningful minutes, unfortunately. So I'm not shocked that he didn't get minutes tonight, but I would love to see him play. Fortunately, we didn't necessarily need him tonight because we managed to keep that lead pretty much the entire game because Orlando's just not very good. But at the same time, because we were in a lead pretty much the whole game, you would have liked to see him get some minutes, especially when Bryn's only getting 3 and Trey Jones is coming in for 5. But I just don't see it happening. Nick, good point. I wish this would happen. Thad at the 4, Jock at the 5. I don't know why we don't do it. It seems like a couple of years ago we were doing everything in our power to get Pop to put LaMarcus at the 5 and put Jakob on the bench. Because remember, for a while he was playing LaMarcus at the 4, Jakob at the 5, and it just wasn't working because both of those guys at the time moved like their feet were covered in molasses and they couldn't defend anybody along the perimeter. So we were a matchup nightmare, or they were a matchup nightmare because their guards were just going off. And so Pop was like, fine, I'll go small ball, fine. And now he's like making us eat our words because we were making him go small ball a couple of years ago, and he just hasn't looked back. And he refuses to play Thaddeus at the 4 for some reason. I wish he would. I think it would work. I don't see why it wouldn't work because Thaddeus, as we've seen, is a capable, defender along the perimeter. He's 6'8", so he can handle some of these longer, 3s or 2s that maybe get switched on to him. But I don't know why we aren't seeing it. I hope we see it in the future because in offseason, Pop did say he would be playing with the lineups from game to game. So maybe he's just holding out and seeing, if this lineup can improve. I don't know. I'm not in the front office. I'm not in the coaching room, so it's hard to say. Let's see what Eric has to say here. I think Vassell will be a starter by All-Star. I said last game, I don't know if he's going to be a starter just because the Spurs are so, bought into Derek White and Dejounte Murray as our cornerstones in the backcourt. And, as much as Derek White has struggled as of recently offensively, defensively, he's still very good. And he had 10 rebounds tonight. I know Devin's also a great defender, also a great rebounder. But Derek has that seniority, and that's usually where the Spurs tend to lean. I think he's definitely starting caliber as far as talent goes. And how he played tonight, he had, what did he have? What are his stats? He had 12 points, 2 boards, 3 steals. I mean, that doesn't tell the whole story because Devin was definitely a spark plug off the bench with his 25 minutes. We could not have won this game without Devin Vassell, and that seems to be a recurring theme as he's kind of taken it upon himself to be that go-to scorer. And I love to see his confidence. His ability to pull up in mid-range is, unparalleled other than maybe Dejounte Murray on our team. Plus, he's a great three-point threat. He just has everything in his bag. If he improved his handle a little bit, I think that's his next step, is just to become a better ball handler. And offensively, he is basically impossible to stop. So I agree with you in theory. But because we are fans of the San Antonio Spurs and all of their glory and their 5 championships, I don't know if he's going to overtake Derek. And, that's hard to say because I think Derek White coming off the bench as our backup point guard and our primary facilitator off the bench would be a better role for him. I don't know if he's made to be an off guard, playing next to a ball-dominant guy like DJ. He moves well off the ball, but he's not a sniper. He's a capable three-point shooter, but I don't think it works really. But because he has the contract and because he's been here as long as he has, I think he's pretty much safe in that spot. Tanner Robertson says trade Derek. I don't know if we're going to go that far. Let's see. Let's get a few more games under his belt. I see where you're coming from, but let's see how he plays as we move along the season here. Let's see, Eric. Good point. I think we might be showcasing a few players right now too. Also true. Are you talking about just like trying to show our young guys off, or are you talking about like Thaddeus Young for trade bait type deal? Like, let's see, he can still play. Either way, you're correct. But thank you for being here, sir. Alexander, I was talking to my friend Tanner Robertson about this, or sort of this topic. DJ playing like a most improved candidate if he stays like this all year. I predicted he would average about 18, 7, and 7 as we went into the preseason this offseason. It's looking like he's going to be right about there. And I think that is definitely in his wheelhouse. I think he is playing with a newfound confidence and a newfound ability to be a leader of a team. He has definitely closed the gap between himself and other great young point guards in the league, like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who had a massive game against the Lakers. Was he last night or 2 nights ago? I think it was last night. And also De'Aaron Fox, who's struggling as of recently. I think Dejounte, at least to me, has proved that he is a more valuable player than a guy like De'Aaron Fox. And you can argue that either way, but personally, Dejounte is a more all-around player. So most improved player, that is definitely within his grasp, in my opinion. Let's see, Eric, that would be hard too because Trey is a great ball handler. Are you referring to my point about Derek maybe moving to the backup point position? If that's what you're referring to, then I get it. Yeah, Trey, unfortunately, I think is going to get lost in the shuffle a little bit this season just because we have, too many guards on the roster. Unless somebody plays really bad, unless Bryn Forbes just refuses to, get involved offensively as the season progresses, or Lonnie Walker all of a sudden takes a drop off. I just don't think Trey is going to get much playing time, unfortunately, because I love Trey Jones. I think he could be a future, really solid contributor on our team because he's such a natural, gifted floor general, reminiscent of how Chris Paul kind of plays, just really facilitating, operating in the pick and roll, getting to the cup. And he's really, improved as a shooter as well. Sorry, let's go back up here a little bit. I missed a couple of y'all's questions and comments. Let's see. I'm the most handsome. At this point, Jock will only get minutes if we are dominating teams or getting dominated like the Pacers game. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm the most handsome. We'd love to see him play a little bit more meaningful minutes, but unfortunately, this is what he's going to be. And I'm conflicted because as a Spurs fan, as a Jock Landale fan, I want to overreact. I want him to be the answer because he's played so well in his garbage minutes and in the preseason. But at the same time, let's just think back on recent history. Remember how well Lonnie Walker would play back when he was a young buck, and he would come in for like 5 minutes and he'd go crazy. And then he had that Rockets game where he single-handedly took us, to the mountaintop and outplayed James Harden and hit a bunch of threes to secure that win. And we were like, Lonnie Walker's the next greatest player in Spurs history. He's the next Tim Duncan, the next Manu Ginobili, whatever you want to say. And he's come down to earth. And I don't think Lonnie is a bad player. Tonight he had 7 points. He kind of 3 for 6 from the field. He hit the only 3 that he took. He was a little absent, in my opinion, tonight. But that's just, I think we all need to kind of keep a level head here. I know we want to go up in arms because Jock Landale is a better matchup for most bigs on most nights. But let's not overreact here. He's only going to get garbage time for now. We want to see him play, but he's probably not going to play at this point. Let's see. I'm the most handsome. I keep clicking on yours, but this is not purposeful. DJ's a top 10 point guard. That's a good discussion. I haven't listed out my top 10 point guards of the season here, but just without looking at the list, that's probably a safe bet. I wouldn't have a hard time believing that at this point. Chilling with Cats. Thanks for being here, my friend. We a playoff team. I don't know if we're a playoff team. I guessed play-in tournament range, 9 or 10 seed, going into the season, and how it's looking at this point. I'd say 9 or 10 is still the safest bet. But you never know. All of a sudden, we could hit, our second wind and become just like an incredibly underrated team. And I think some keys to that would be trying to get Doug McDermott's rhythm back. He was a little off tonight, 1 for 5 from 3. Felt like he was just kind of rushing it a little too much from the perimeter, kind of forcing his jump shot in some situations. But I think that will pass. I think he just needs to kind of find his rhythm again coming off injury. But let's get into the next topic here so I don't keep rambling on and on and on and you guys get bored. Uh, what do we get better at this game? A highlight for me would be our offense, our half court offense. Everybody has improved, at least in this game, as a cutter and as an off ball guy, including Dejounte Murray, Keldon Johnson, Derek White's always pretty good, but Doug McDermott as well. And I think part of that was kind of going to Thaddeus Young at that elbow area and letting him facilitate. But everybody was getting better at seeing space, eating space, going back door, getting easy buckets. And that's where we were struggling in games past, was in that half court setting. We were kind of just going pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll, and getting swarmed by the guy that was defending the roll man, just kind of coming up on that screen, putting his hands in the air, and we were picking up our dribble because there was nowhere to go with the ball. And now all of a sudden we have a whole new dimension to our offense, which is it doesn't have to be DJ holding the ball, with a pick and roll with Jakob Poeltl to get a bucket. Now it can be a dribble handoff with Thaddeus Young. All of a sudden, Lonnie Walker cuts back door. He's got an easy drop-off pass. We get an easy layup. Or Keldon Johnson coming from the weak side, cutting baseline. All of a sudden, we find him, easy pass, easy layup. These are things that we've finally seeing against the Orlando Magic. I know Orlando's not exactly a top-tier defensive team, but just kind of seeing more cohesion is always a great sign, especially when that's something that we've struggled with so far in this season. And where can we improve? I don't know our statistics as far as turnovers go, but just watching the game, it felt a little bit sloppy in some situations. I know I just gave a whole spiel complimenting our half-court offense and kind of finding the open man, but at the same time, we're still showing our age a little bit too often. A little bit, too forceful, trying to force feed somebody or get the pass through a tight window when we really should have looked elsewhere. Just sloppy plays here and there that really gave Orlando life, because I felt like we were about ready to put our foot on Orlando's throat in so many points in this game, and all of a sudden we'd give them life, we'd give them momentum, we'd throw the ball away, we'd lose it out of bounds, we would Lonnie Walker had a moment in the game where he took it off the glass, pushed it full court, trying to get an easy bucket, and he just slipped and fell, lost the handle, turnover. Orlando goes the other way, probably got an easy bucket. I can't remember off the top of my head. But just moments like that we still need to kind of tighten up a little bit. We gotta lessen the amount of angry timeouts that Pop is calling, is basically what I'm saying. Y'all know what I'm talking about. When Pop just calls a timeout and comes on the court just screaming at somebody, gets right in their face, we gotta cut that down a little bit. Those amount of timeouts, they're kind of pumped up this season, and we gotta bring that back down to a healthy amount. A little bit of crazy Pop is a good thing. We don't want to completely get rid of it, but it's a little too high at this point. So we need to fix some of those easily fixable mistakes. Another good thing that I forgot to mention, finally, we are shooting well from the free throw line, 89% for this game, 16 for 18. The only people that missed free throws were Drew Eubanks and Keldon Johnson, which is expected. Everybody else was perfect from the line, which is great to see. We just kind of need to get our rhythm back up because for some reason this season we've been shooting pretty poorly, and I can't imagine why that would be the case. But finally, it seems like we're getting our rhythm back. Let's go back to the comments here for a second. Eric, let's see what you have to say. Lonnie was so athletic compared to the roster we had against those Rockets. Yes, sorry about that. I should have brought that up earlier. Let's see what else you said. It was Orlando. Let's see Sunday against a hyper-athletic team. Yes, it is smart to keep all of this, everything that I'm saying that's positive, with a grain of salt because Orlando is not exactly a powerhouse at this point in the NBA. Tanner Robertson, Chip England, fraudulent. I don't know. I don't know if I can agree with that one, Tanner. Maybe you can explain yourself with another comment. Maybe I can side with you, but not at this point, buddy. I'm I'm not jumping on that train as of yet. Let's see, who are we playing on Sunday? The Thunder. Okay. Yeah, that should be a good game. The Thunder, they're about as young as we are. Actually, they're way younger than us, probably like a year or two younger than us on average. That'll be a good matchup. It's a good test for DJ and Derek going up against Josh Giddey, a pretty talented playmaker, and their young core as well. They're fighting along with us to try and get into that play-in spot. I don't think they have as good of a case because they're way younger than us and because they don't have Greg Popovich, but it will still be a good game to watch for sure. Only reason to explain bad free throw performances. You're right, Tanner. Let's just blame Chip England. That's just absolute. Yeah, I agree with you. No other factors can possibly contribute to bad free throw shooting. You are correct. All right, guys, I finished everything that I wanted to talk about. So if you guys have any questions about anything Spurs related or anything personal, I mean, I don't know what y'all want to talk about. We can keep this thing going for about 5 minutes or so, or however long you guys have comments to discuss. Just bring it on. I'm just sitting here without Jude, trying to fill up some time. Let's see. I'm the most handsome. DJ gonna put the clamps on SGA. Yes, sir. I hope so. I mean, this is a great matchup. SGA versus DJ. Let's see who's really the good point guard. You know what I mean? Because these guys have very similar skill sets. Maybe SGA is a little bit better of a three-point shooter at this point in the season. Debatable because Dejounte all of a sudden is Steph Curry. But we'll see. It'll be a good matchup for sure. Tanner, how the grades looking? They're all right. I don't want to say anything more. They don't want to say anything more. They're all right. I'm passing, and that's the important thing. Again, guys, thank you so much for being in here. I know Jude not being here is a kind of a different vibe. I hope it wasn't too weird or too much of an adjustment. Like I said, if you don't like me, you just tend to like Jude. This probably wasn't the video for you, but I did my best. I thought. So thank you guys for being here. I'm trying to find. There we go. Jude's usually the one that handles all the texts and stuff, so this is a whole new ball game for me. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as always, here at SSPN. Follow us on Twitter. I know Jude's not here, but go ahead and give him a follow anyway. And, of course, follow and subscribe to SpursTube TV. We'll be on there a couple times here in the future. I think Jude's coming on soon. Nick, I appreciate you, my boy. I like this. We got to get some vulgarity in here. I'm liking it. I can't cuss because of YouTube would take it down, but I can show you guys cussing for sure. Or at least I can't say that word. I can say other words for sure. All right, looks like the comment section isn't blowing up. I guess I covered everything you guys wanted to talk about. So we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. Like I said, I'm Ethan Quintero. I'm here for Jude McLaren, who's not here. We are SSPN. Don't forget to like and subscribe to SpursTube TV, as well as SSPN if you want more Spurs content. We'll be back. I don't think we're going to be covering Sunday's game because I will be out of town, but maybe Jude will be here. Just be in touch. I'm sure we'll be putting stuff on our Twitters and on our YouTube feed as the weekend progresses. But with that being said, you guys have a great night, and I hope you enjoyed.